Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. West Ham United took the trip over to North London to take on Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in a game where both sides have had some questionable form this season. Of course, Tottenham coming off the back of a humiliation up at the King Power last time out in the Premier League and getting beat away from home to Milan in the Champions League midweek. Of course, West Ham are coming off of some relatively positive performances, two draws against Newcastle and Chelsea, and are hoping to build on that in this game, of course, leading up to that massive game at home to Nottingham Forest next weekend. Hope you are all well. Budgie is joining me for the live match preview of Spurs versus West Ham. Budgie, how are you?
Good evening, Jake. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. So Tottenham tomorrow, it's always an interesting affair. It's always an interesting game. How are you feeling going into it?
Do you know something, Jake? I'm probably in the minority, but I'm actually feeling pretty positive. You know, we've got quite a good history at the Tottenham Stadium. You know, it's first team ever to win, first away team ever to win now. You know, we've had a couple of decent results there, that none less, you know, than the 3-3 draw with the Lanzini screamer, and that probably gets a mention every time we speak about Spurs. But you know, it's an important part of the history in our games against them. You know, and I'm feeling fairly positive. You know, it looks like we might have Skamaka back. You know, so you know there are some positive signs.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think, you know, going into it, it's always a different game. It's always a sort of different game to your bog standard game, because, you know, in the past, especially at their stadium, we always do okay. You know, last year was a little bit of an anomaly because I believe it was in between two very key European games, so we kind of sort of had that hangover, and we lost to them 3-1 last year at their place. But we always seem to turn up against a Spurs side. You know, we started really poor in that game at their place last season, but we managed to get ourselves back into it. And you know, Tottenham, it's a difficult game. We'll talk about their key players and all that a little bit later on. But it's a game where we can go to and we can get at them and, you know, get into them and cause them some problems, because they're a side that are vulnerable this season. You know, they are still doing well, but they are a side that are vulnerable. They've got many sort of areas you can try and exploit. And especially with us, you know, we can get something out of them. That's the key thing.
That is exactly right, Jake. And, you know, you mentioned some of the key players, and as you said, we'll go into that in a little while. But you know, because of that situation, we can really get at them this weekend. You know, we've got more of an opportunity this weekend than we have had in the last three games against them, and including the cup game that we played earlier in the year. So, you know.
Yeah. I was just saying, a Tottenham game, they're always a little bit different to the normal ones. Robert, Derby game, I should say. Robert, I hope you are well. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We definitely need a win after today's results. Let's talk about those. It's been a bit of a nightmare afternoon in terms of results for West Ham. Well, I haven't got the results here, but I can remember off the top of my head that Bournemouth have won, Southampton have won.
I can get them up on my phone easy. Go on, carry on, mate.
I think it's Bournemouth won, Southampton won, I think Everton won, which meant Leeds didn't. But there were some absolute nightmare results in there today, which are not good. I think I got the most of them there, Budgie. But overall, you know, they have gone against us today, which puts an even.
They have indeed. You know, the Chelsea Southampton result, that was key for us. You know, I mean, you know, does that take the shine off of our result against them last time out? I don't believe it does. But, you know, Southampton, who are also a struggling side, have managed to get a win against them this season. And at the Bridge as well. So, you know, that's a damn good result for them. And, you know, the Everton game, that's the other one that really comes to mind for me. Bournemouth also. But, you know, all three of those teams have all, you know, got something to prove, haven't they? You know, like we have. And they've gone out there this weekend and proved it. Now we've got to go out and do the same. We've got to go out against probably one of our toughest opponents in the league, I think, because of the derby and the history behind us. But we've got to go out there with a positive outset, and we've got to go out there and we've got to take the game to them. There's no other way.
Yeah.
Absolutely no other way.
No, yeah. I think we've just got to, get into them, and we'll talk about those sort of areas that we can try and exploit in a little while as well. 6 worth of your comments, Rob. Thank you very much. P.S. Don't forget, like the video and subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you're new. Check out our channel. Sponsors are on West Ham Unofficial, SRM Carbon and Sun by clicking the link in the description down below, as well as checking out our sponsors throughout February and March. Manscaped, you can check them out. Link in the description down below. Use the code West Ham Unofficial 20 at checkout for 20% off plus free shipping on products like the Lawnmower 4.0 and all of your below the waist and above the waist grooming as well. Check out Manscaped by clicking the link in the description down below and use that code to help out the channel massively. This whole weekend and how we sort of look back on it, Budgie, really depends on our result, because we've seen the other teams, because it's almost a complete opposite as last weekend, because we managed to get a statement out there and get a point on the board early last weekend, and now we've had to wait and see everyone else win and pick up points, and we've now got to take it into our own hands and go, let's forget about them and let's do our thing and get some points on the board. That's what we've got to do.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're kind of slightly disadvantaged by being the first team to play last week and the last team to play this week, over the weekend. That's a slight disadvantage. As you said, there's waiting time and nail biting and all sorts going on. But I think that we've kind of settled down a little bit. And I think that the earlier turmoil, I think that the team was in, has now settled down a little bit. Okay, we've still got some key players missing ourselves. In fact, we've probably got half a dozen first choice players that aren't either 100% or available. So our side is kind of, we're running on spare parts, if you like. Really, to be fair. Although, having said that, the players that we've got in reserve for the chosen 11, they've been proving themselves over the last season or so. So to a degree. I mean, nobody's really proven himself this season, but players like Saïd Benrahma, he's been one of our most important players this season. Had a bit of a dip last week, agreed, but he's hungry. He wants to prove himself. He wants to score goals. I've got £2 on him to score 2 tomorrow. That's how confident I am. I've got us down for a 3-1 win. I've got 30. Yeah, I put Benrahma to score 2, 3-1 win, and I've got 38-1 on it, and I put £2 on it. So I stand a chance of winning 70-odd quid.
I tell you what, I like the positivity. I really, really do. Robert says they're all fighting for the right to stay in the Premier League, and they ain't going to lose just for us. And it's teams that are fighting. You've got Everton there who have brought in a new manager. You've got Bournemouth who don't seem to, want to lie down. Southampton, exactly the same as we've got so many teams around there fighting for it. And we've got to, stand up and be accounted for here. Right then, next up, I think we're going to be joined by a very special guest. I think he's here, former West Ham player, Sebastian Schemmel. Seb, are you there?
How you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Good stuff. So we play Spurs tomorrow, a derby.
Hi.
We play Spurs tomorrow, a big derby, Seb. Did that sort of game, a big derby game, did that have a difference when you were at West Ham?
I played, if I remember, 2 times against Spurs, and we draw 2 times. But for tomorrow, I'm sure we win 3-0.
3-0?
3-0, for sure. 2 goals, Antonio, and 1...
other.
Excellent white.
Wow, I like the positivity. I do. Did a sort of derby game against like a rival have a sort of different feel for it in the change room? Was like things different, or was like every game the same?
It's a special game because we know the fan hate the Spurs fans. So for us, it was a big motivation for the game. So I remember the atmosphere when we played this derby, and it was a very special game for everybody and for us too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. In terms of some team news, then, Budgie, I'm going to turn back to you. David Moyes gave a little bit of an update in the week. He confirmed Lucas Paqueta will not be involved in the game, which is a little bit of a sort of disappointment. But we did expect it. But he did provide positive updates on players like Nair Gerd and Gianluca Scamacca that could be involved in the game. And the key word there is could. You know, Scamacca and Gerd, the centre half, key players to have back in there.
Yeah, I mean, even if they're on the bench tomorrow, that's going to be a big motivation to the whole team. I mean, Sebastian will be able to tell you better than I can, but when you've had a player that's so important to the team, like Navigared, I mean, since he's come in, he has shown his worth to us, you know, and to lose a player like that is a big blow to the whole team, not just the defensive line or the midfield line, wherever that player is situated, but to get them back after the injury, even just to get them back into training, get them back on the bench, that's a massive lift to the players that are out there, you know. And I think that, you know, if either of them or both of them are either on the bench or in starting 11, you know, a massive boost. I think Tottenham have got a very big job on their hands tomorrow.
Yeah. In terms of sort of Tottenham, Seb, you've got, you know, they've got some very good players there. You know, Harry Kane is a great player. But do you think we can get at them? I like your positivity with a 3-0. Do you think we can get at them and beat them?
Yeah, for sure. I know Harry Kane is, for me, is one of the best striker in the league. But tomorrow, he do anything for sure, because I'm sure every player who plays this game are very motivated. So tomorrow, remember what I said, Jack. 3-0 for sure. With a very easy game tomorrow. I hope so. So I watch the game tomorrow. And do you know the team who start tomorrow?
Well, roughly, I think, you know, we've got the injury, so Paqueta won't be involved. So I'd expect Souček to slot in alongside Declan Rice in midfield. But I wouldn't expect too many more changes. Do you think that's a positive?
Yeah, it's good, because I watched the last game against Chelsea. West Ham play very well. Even the right back Kufan play very well this game. So I'm very confident for tomorrow, honestly. And if we beat Chelsea last week, it was normal for me, because we play very, very well. So I'm very confident for tomorrow.
Yeah. Budgie, Seb makes a good point there in terms of Soufal and the wing backs, you know, playing this new system, playing the back five with the wing backs. Soufal and Emerson have really, really flourished.
Yeah, indeed. You know, I liked Emerson when he was at Chelsea. You know, I mean, as you probably know, my brother's a Chelsea fan, and you know, we would watch either team together. You know, and in the games that I saw Emerson playing, I thought he was a very useful player. I had absolutely no idea we were looking at him, but when we got him, when he came through the door, I was quite happy. And now he's beginning to show what I saw back then that I thought he could be. And you know, I mean, he kind of a precise Arthur Matsuaku with class, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
he's just incredible down that left side at the moment. He's you know, with him down that left side, Soufal running down the right side, I think the delivery into the middle should be a lot better. Now that they're getting comfortable with that position, they've probably been training all week in those positions, you know, and practicing their crossing and their runs down the line and stuff like that. Yeah, I would imagine that's going to be a very useful outlet for us this weekend. Yeah, especially as Tottenham like to play a little bit, you know, sort of huddled up in the middle. They don't like to. The midfield don't like to spread out too much.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, Seb, and I'll come to you. Obviously, Obviously with you being a right back, do you think that almost makes a difference as well? Because Soufal wasn't, playing the best, and then we changed around the formation, played them as sort of wing backs, and he's sort of become a bit better. Do you think that sort of makes a difference? And you mentioned, how well you thought Soufal played against Chelsea.
So I don't understand your question, Jake, too.
All right, I'll rephrase it. Right, what I'll say is, Soufal's began to play better in the sort of new system, playing like further up the pitch. Do you think that's good for him?
Yeah, it's good for him, because when you play with 4 defender, it was not so good. Just my opinion. Yeah. So now he can go forward every time. He don't have need to defend so much, because for me he's not a defender, because he do so many mistakes when we play in a 4 on the back. So as a system, he play very well, and for me tomorrow it will be a key for this game, because since 2 or 3 games we change the system, he play very, very well. He have a very good attitude. Maybe it's a new player, I don't know, but he's very good player the last 3 games.
Yeah, I agree. Before we carry on, you can find Budgie channel, which I was going to say, over at Green Street Elites on YouTube. He did a brilliant video, an interview with Peach's dad earlier in the week, so you can go and check that out on his channel at Green Street Elites. Budgie, what were you going to say there before I cut in?
Thank you for that. Very, very kind of you. I was going to say that Soufal, when he was playing in the 4, I agree, he wasn't a defender, but you could see the wing back in him. All the time he was playing in that position, he wanted to break forward, but unfortunately, he had defensive duties. Now he hasn't really got to rely on the defensive duties. He can concentrate more on that wing back role that he enjoys doing. You can see he enjoys it. And I think we play better as a three-man defense with wing backs. I think we play a better game under that system.
And I think as well, it sort of pushes us up the pitch a bit more. And, I'd expect to see, whether Agurd's going to be fit or not, we'll have to wait and see. But you'll see Ogbonna there, probably Johnson and Kera, and that's a big if, that Agurd is not available. And then, we've got a bit more pace in there. And they're not sort of, proven centre halves as much, but it's the best we've sort of got there. And I think they can do the job, and it pushes us sort of up the pitch a bit more. And you've then got midfield in Declan Rice there. And Seb, you've got Declan Rice there, who you mentioned when you came on last time, brilliant player. In a derby like this, do you think Declan Rice is a key?
Yeah, exactly. For me, he's the best player I've seen since a long time to West Ham. Tomorrow is okay of this game, and West Ham I've need a very good Declan Rice tomorrow, because for me is the key of this game, for sure.
Yeah. If we can sort of dominate and play well in that midfield, then I think we can sort of get at them. And as well, Budgie, because they've got many midfield injuries there. Bentancur, the man they bought in, is now out injured. He's been massive for them. Bissouma's out injured. They've got so many injuries in there, and they are quite weak in midfield. And if we can dominate that, then I think we're onto a winner.
That's exactly what my point was at the beginning, Jake. With those key players missing, we can really get at them. And because the midfield isn't going to be a midfield that are used to working together so much, like in a game situation, that is, they're going to be slightly weaker than the midfield they normally have, but they still will play fairly narrow, I think. They're quite a narrow midfield at Tottenham. The only ones that really get out wide, are the 2 front forwards, Son and whoever else they're playing on the day. Bentancur normally, isn't it? Usually the other side, but I think we can really get at them. I mean, it's a shame that we're going to be missing Paqueta, because I think he would have absolutely made mincemeat of them midfield. I mean, he's so clever with the ball. It's a shame he's not going to be about, but I think, Thomas Souček has had a slight rise in form recently. Declan Rice, probably the best midfielder in the country, if not the world. He's going to boss that midfield, and Souček's going to run it. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting view tomorrow. But I just wanted to say about the 5-man or the 3-man back line with the wing backs. You know, I was critical of David Moyes' tactics until he started using that system. And I think, you know, I personally, and I think there are other fans out there, we could have been a little bit more, I don't know, patient with it, because when we saw him buying in Emerson, a lot of people were going, why do we need to get rid of Masuaku and bring him in? You know, it's like for like. But obviously Emerson's a better player. So, you know, he was obviously building towards this system. That's what my opinion is anyway, you know. And I think that's what we're going to see. You know?
Definitely. Definitely. Got a question in for you, Seb. Firstly, Robert says, how did you find training at West Ham compared to other teams you were at? Was it easier or harder than other teams?
To train to West Ham?
Yeah.
It was very easy. Very, very easy. Too easy, because in France it's very hard to training ground. But to West Ham, it was very easy to train with the manager, with Paolo Di Canio. It's very easy when we play with some player like this. But the difference between when we trained to West Ham and when I played to Upton Park was completely different, because to training ground we have a lot of fun, we're joking every time, but when you go on a pitch to Upton Park, everything changed. You are another player. So, and everything is when you play to Upton Park, is very hard. Emotional is very difficult, and the fan push you every time, so it's very difficult. But to the training ground, it was very easy.
Very good. And finally, Robert. Oh, go on, Budgie, go on.
No, I was going to ask Seb a question myself, but carry on with Robert.
No, fire away, Budgie, fire away.
Okay. Seb, as a player that wasn't really renowned for scoring goals, when you did score that one goal for us, was it against Derby?
Derby, just after the Christmas.
Yeah. How did the West Ham fans react towards you, and how did you feel after the goal? You know, that's just my question.
I remember all my family watched this game, because all my family, I have a big family, come to this game. I never score. I score maybe one or two times in France, but when I score, I said, I dream. It's a dream for me. I'm wake up in 2 minutes and I say, oh shit, in my dream I score for West Ham, and the day after Christmas. But it was very, very special for me. I remember this goal, and I remember Joe Cole run after me, and he wanted to catch me, and because he knows I never score. And one day after Christmas, it was a very, very special day for the fan. I remember, I think we played 1 or 2 o'clock afternoon, and when I score, if you remember this goal, never I'm going in this area, and someone said, you have need to go here, maybe you score, maybe today is a miracle for you. It was a very, very good miracle for me, because never I score, but I remember this moment for the rest of my life.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Very, very good moment for me.
I did actually
talk about this.
I did actually do a little research. I think you scored 5 goals in your professional career.
Yeah, is not enough.
And one of them was for West Ham.
Yeah, but you're a defensive player though, Seb, so all can be forgiven, you know. But the one that you did score for us was impeccable, so thank you for that.
Thank you too. It's a pleasure to speak with you. Yeah, I love to. I play some team in France, but I remember just one thing: is in my 2 years to West Ham, it was a dream to play for you. This is a real thing. It's for that I watch every game of West Ham. When Jack called me says we have need to talk for me, it's normal because I never do that for the French team, for all the team I played. Never. Just for West Ham because I love you.
Oh,
Just
brilliant.
that.
And we love you, bro. We love you. That's great. Sorry, Jake. I'll let you take over your show again now, mate.
That's all right. A couple more questions have come in. Robert says, was it a hard or easy decision to retire from football when you did, Seb?
Yes, it was very. I do some bad choice in my career, even when I leave West Ham, because if I was my mentality as is now, never I leave West Ham. But even if I have some problem with some people in the club who want everybody leave, but if I have one big regret, it was to leave West Ham and the stop football at 29 years old. Just that. But when you play for West Ham 2 years is enough for me. To be honest, I want just to say to play for you for 2 years. If I said I die. After that, I say okay, I can die. There's no problem. I do what I want to do in my life, and I do that with West Ham.
Brilliant. Robert says here, and he does say it correctly as well, Seb scored as many goals as Steve Potts. Steve Potts made 399 appearances for West Ham over his 17-year stint. You played your 63 games for West Ham and you got a goal on the board as well, Seb. So it's not all about the goals. It's not all about the goals. Back to the football for just a second. Helen says, we are in deep trouble, have only won 5 out of 22 games. It's just not good enough. And I feel like this is the game where we're going to turn it around. You know, Spurs, we always turn up that little bit more. It's a derby. We always seem to get at them a bit more. And I think this one is the game. This is the game. Long Live the Bowling asks, Seb, what do you remember of the 5-3 match against Manchester United?
Of course, what a game. I watched this game maybe 3 weeks ago with my daughter, and it was a fantastic game. And I remember where David Beckham scored, when Freddie Canute scored. I remember every game. So this one was very special because even if we lose, it was a fantastic game to Upton Park with every fan. Even when we lose the game, I remember the fan was so happy to play so well, even if you take 5 goals. But this game was unbelievable, and we played for the game like this. Even if I doesn't want, I hate to lose, but lose some game like this with everybody give 100%. And but at this moment, Manu was like Manchester City this year, so it was so difficult to play against them. But it was incredible game. I remember, of course, I remember every game, even when we lose 7-1 to Blackburn. I remember every game. So,
there we go. Right, we're gonna just start wrapping it up in terms of the West Ham Spurs game. Then, so you've both mentioned your predictions before, but I want you to repeat them just for me. Budgie, first, I want your goal scorers and your prediction.
Well, I think it's going to be 3-1. I'm going to go for a brace for 2 goals from Said Benrahma and 1 goal from AN Other. So let me choose somebody. Thomas Souček.
Oh, Thomas Souček. There we go. And Seb, you're 3-0. So your goal scorers, who do you think is going to score them?
I said Antonio 2.
Yeah.
But I think he played tomorrow. Jake, you know every team, so you know if he play. You know before everybody. I know that. and the last one, because just 2-0. 2-0. And at the last minute, Declan Rice, because I said he's the key of the game, so he scored tomorrow for sure.
Brilliant. My prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-0 West Ham. I'm going to agree with you, Seb. I think Antonio's going to score for West Ham. 1-0. I think we're going to nick it, and I think we're going to get 3 points and take it back to East London. And one last question from Long Live the Bowling. He says, do you enjoy modern football, Seb, or not?
The modern football, yeah, it's good. It's when we play for West Ham, it was a model football too. I think when I play for West Ham, we play much better than what I watched the last 2 years of West Ham. This is just my opinion, but the model football is very nice to watch too.
Very good, very good. Budgie, I'm going to put the final question for Seb over to you. Then I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, okay. So, Seb, before you came to West Ham, obviously you were in France.
Yes.
You'd never played against us, if I'm right, no?
I never play against?
Up until that point. Against West Ham?
Nah, never.
No. Okay, so when you came to West Ham, the first time you played and you walked out onto that ground with the crowd singing Bubbles, how did you feel?
Yeah. For the first time, I don't understand what's happened, and I saw every fan to sing to song. I said to my mates, what is that? Everybody explain what is. And the second game, it was very exciting, and I was very confused. Because when you listen to this song, you are another man. And remember, I remember just Christian Daly said, if you want to be for the rest of your life a West Ham a man who play for West Ham, you have need to understand this song. So now I know.
Brilliant.
So
okay.
It's a very special moment when you came in a pitch with this song. It's very special.
It certainly is. There's a few more questions going into the chat, but what I'm going to say is I spoke to Sebastian a few weeks ago. We covered a load of stuff. If you haven't watched that interview, I'd really recommend you go and watch it. I've just put the link into the chat. You can go and watch our long and extended chat, which was very, very good indeed. So you can check that out on the channel. So final thoughts then, Budgie, Spurs tomorrow. Final thoughts.
We've got to get out there. We've got to bully them. We've got to boss the game. We need a player like Sebastian because, we need some of them tackles, bro. I'm telling you. But we need to get at them. We need to give them no breathing space. Get a nice early goal, and then get a second one before half time. I think it'll be our game.
Let's hope so. And Seb, the final word goes down to you. If you were the manager, what would you say to the players before they go out?
We have need to kill them. Just that. Tomorrow is a special game. We have need to beat Spurs for just that. I said you are 90 minutes for fight, for win, just that, and see you after the game.
Brilliant. I like it. If you want to hear more of Sebastian, check out the interview I did with him on the channel. Sebastian, you're an absolute gentleman. Thank you very much for coming on again.
Thank you very much, you too. I still love you. Just don't forget that.
Thank you very much. And Budgie, thank you very much indeed for joining us as well.
No problem. No problem at all, Jake. And it's a pleasure meeting you, Sebastian.
Thank you very much, me too. Sorry for my English, but maybe next time I speak very well English.
That's so. No, fine.
I could learn French.
Yeah, we'll just learn French and we'll do it in French.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
French too, huh?
Yeah, we will. From us, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
We are going to the game tomorrow, so there'll be a vlog. There'll be a road trip with Mike in the back of the car. We're looking forward to making our trip up to Tottenham. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. From us, come on, you Irons. Let's hope West Ham can win tomorrow. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.